staying warm. It is freezing cold here. My name is Teresa. Welcome. I am a content creator for Dixie Belle Paint Company. I come live with you guys every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. to do some fun painting tutorials. As you guys are popping on, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from, all of the things. If you have any paint related questions, drop them in the comment section and I'd be happy to answer them. All of the products that I'll be using today, you can find on the Dixie Belle website. If you go up to the left-hand corner, you type in your zip code where it says find my local retailer. It'll show all the local retailers in your area and you'll be able to find all of the fabulous things that are Dixie Belle. So I have this cute little piece of furniture right here, and I say little, it is not, it's gigantic. I have two of these. So I have two of these, a tall dresser and a long dresser. So it's a complete set, it's gargantuan, it weighs 900,000 pounds. And I want it painted by today, so let's do that. Sound good? Hi, Anne. Thank you for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Watching from Jessup, Georgia. Nice. I have some family in Marietta in Georgia. Marietta, I think that's how you say it. Right outside of Atlanta. So I just talked to my grandma yesterday, so hello. All right, so today we will be using Bonding Boss. Bonding Boss is amazing. It makes sure that there is great adhesion and it prevents any bleed through, which is caused by tannins in the wood. So that's what we're gonna be doing. I'll be painting this very beautiful piece of furniture in driftwood, which is one of my favorite color grays. It's like a gray, it's gray white. So from far away, it's gray. You come up a little bit close, from far away it looks white, but when you go closer you can tell that it's like a grayish color. It's really pretty. So there is that. I'll be using my angled mini today. This is my designated primer brush. So you don't have to do that, but you have to make sure that you clean your brushes really well. I clean all of my brushes with Scrubby Soap. Scrubby Soap is amazing. It's a fabulous product. You can find that on the Dixie Belle website. And make sure that gets all the gross stuff out of your brushes. But I will be using my mini angle today for that. I'll be taking a sanding block if I need that. And it's freezing, so I have a cup of tea and I'm sitting about 2 inches away from a heater because it has been so cold here. I have not been able to get in my shop. This is the first time in probably almost 2 months that I've been in my shop to work on anything. It has been crazy cold. I've been doing lots of house projects, as you guys know. Last week we painted a board, which came out super cute. Yesterday I painted my fireplace, which definitely, I was getting tired of it. And I've been painting all of the doors in my house. So definitely a good time to do those kind of fun projects when you are absolutely freezing. So we have my little tea to stay warm. I'm trying to come off a coffee, so that's a journey in itself. So we'll find out how that, I'll update you on that. But blueberry tea today for the win. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're gonna open this piece of furniture. I haven't even opened it yet. I just picked it up from the person that I bought the furniture from. And we're gonna go with it and see how pretty she is in person, because it definitely looked really beautiful. Hello, Josephine. How are you? Thank you for saying hello today. And it's on these. Hopefully they stay on that. So I had to have my son pick this thing up with me because it's so heavy. The dresser is even heavier. And I tried to put it on these rolly things. Me and my son picked it up and he dropped it. And when he did, it landed on my foot, and I swear I thought I broke my foot. It hurt so bad. I'm still not convinced because the top of my foot still hurts really bad where the piece of furniture fell. It was the big sister to this guy. So again, we're just gonna come on in with this, and then we're gonna unravel her and see what she looks like. Hi, Patty. How are you? Hey, Hartman92. How are you doing? Right, we are freezing, Patty. It's so cold in here. So cold. I have 2 shirts on and sitting on top of a heater. So definitely, this is not for this weather. I'm not built for it. I am built for palm trees. Thank you very much. Living in the wrong part of the country. Well, we have beaches here, but they're not very warm. All right, so I can already tell you that she's in fabulous condition. So heavy, I'm not even gonna try to move that thing. Hold on. It's not real wood. Okay, so we're gonna go with that. It's very good, crappy furniture, if that makes sense. So I could try to sand this, but this is a veneer, so I will not be doing that. I'm not good with veneer. I blow right through it because I don't have patience, and I have a sander that literally could sand through concrete. So there's that. All right, so now we're gonna come on to the inside. This is Bassett furniture. It's in great condition, like I said. But it's good crappy furniture, right? That's all I can say. This is before IKEA and Rooms to Go and everything came along and decided to ruin the furniture industry with cardboard furniture. So there's that. I'm gonna be taking my drill and grabbing this guys out of here. I do not have the patience to unscrew all these guys. If you do, Godspeed. I do not. That to me is just way faster, way easier. That was done in like literally 3 seconds. I like to put all of my hardware back in the drawer because sometimes each piece of hardware is different and it won't ever go back the same. Learn that lesson. And I lose stuff because if you haven't noticed, my shop's a hot mess, so I'm gonna lose things. So am I in Chicago. Hartman, you're 9 years old. Oh, well, hello and welcome. Hope you're having a good day. Yes, Patty, we need to be somewhere else. Our beach is super cold. It snowed at our beach. That's insane. That never happened. So that was definitely an unusual thing. There we go. All right, all that's off. Yay. I'm gonna take a cloth and just get any residue of anything that is on here. There we go. All right. Slick as snot, right? We're definitely gonna have to rough this bad boy up just a little bit. Keep you with me. I have a sanding block. You can use sanding sponges if you want to. I just grabbed one of these guys because I wanted more than 220. So this is just 100 grit. And I'm just very lightly scuffing the surface. Not anything crazy. Anywhere and everywhere. It's just very lightly, very easy, not anything crazy. Grab the sides. You're just going to take your sanding block, put your hand on it, and just do a quick little, I don't want to remove anything. I'm not trying to sand the piece of furniture. All I'm trying to do is give it just a little bit of scuff so that my primer doesn't have to work as hard. We're just gonna dust that back off. And then we're gonna grab the side. Okay, and voila. So there'll be like a little bit of white dust. That's what we're looking for, not sanding it down to anything else. Okay, there we go. Move you over here. And I'm drinking a little bit more tea. It is so cold in here. You guys, well, Patty, you work in your basement, don't you? I think you're lucky. Good morning from sunny Miami. Annie, can me and Patty come visit you? We need some Miami in our life. It is freezing here. So cold, and my tea's so hot I'm scared to drink too much of it because I don't want it to burn my mouth. And I put ice in it. All right, I'm using my angled brush, and I need to be able to get back into these guys again. And we're just going to prime this piece of furniture. Yes, if you bring some paint. Ah, done. Done. Patty, pack your stuff. We're going to Miami. One can dream. Again, we're using Bonding Boss. It is amazing. It has great adhesion. Oh, all right, don't do this. I've broken so many of those doing that. Clearly, I haven't learned my lesson. All right. Yeah, right. Let's go. All this. Let's go. Road trip. I'm going to pull you guys in so you can see. Ooh, I'm for it. I like quiet. I live in the country, so I definitely am down for the quiet. How nice. I'm telling you, anywhere that's warm is better than here. I'm gonna take I don't mind it in the summertime. Well, okay, that's a lie. My favorite time to live here is in the fall because you still have those warm nights, but it's just like a little bit of crisp in the air. I hate spring. Spring, we get this gross yellow season here where like it's in the air. The pollen is so bad here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna mist our brush. And what that does is it makes it easier for things to move around. Please, let's go. All right, so our brush is damp. We've made sure that that water is worked in. There's nothing in that brush. Okay, pull my sleeves up a little bit. And let's go. We're going to pull our drawer out. And I'm not looking for coverage, okay? We're just trying to get this primer on. My first coat of primer, you will always be able to see through it. You'll be able to see brush strokes. I am not concerned. But I do like to apply my primer with a good brush. I feel like that helps. You don't necessarily have to do that, but I try to have a designated brush just for primer. If you can help it, it does make a difference because your primer will make your brush a little rougher. I am close to the Everglades. Summer is swamp weather. Oh, I'm sure. Summer here can be kind of brutal. There's a season in the summer, like the beginning of the summer is amazing. Like you can go to the lake, you can go swimming, you go to the beach. But once you get to the end of summer, it's so stinking hot here. You can't go to the beach. The sand burns your feet. The air burns your lungs. It's so hot. So it's the hardware. All right, and now we're just gonna get our edges. I literally have the tiniest amount of primer on there. I paint outwards so that way I'm not gooping all my primer inside of my drawer so it doesn't drip in. Very thinly. All right. Again, very little. We kind of just dab it on and then we paint back. So that way it's not all in one spot, all blobbed up. Okay, and then back and forth very, very lightly. So we're kind of feathering on, just feathering it on. We're gonna come over to the sides, whatever's excess, and we're just gonna grab our edges. Making sure not to get it on the drawer itself. If you do, you can just use water and a little rag and it'll come right off. It's much easier to get it while it's wet. Gator hide, this is Bonding Boss. Bonding Boss primer. Okay, and so now I'm just gonna close that. And then I'll come back. You can either take the drawers out or you can come around, it doesn't really matter. And just kind of grab it. This is gonna be really pretty. I have a huge jewelry box with color Happy You're Alive today. Oh, yay, good. Jewelry boxes are always fun. They're fun little things. Like you can just kind of, you know, you can go kind of crazy on them and it's not a huge commitment because it's not a big piece of furniture. This has some really beautiful detail on the sides of it, so I'll definitely be doing some sort of fun, I'll be adding wax to it. I just redid a table, the same finish sealed with gator hide. The table is damaged and curious on a process for decorating after I do the repair. I'm not sure what kind of damage it had done to it, so I don't know how to answer that question. But you can definitely do a lot of different things to it. To hide it, you can blend on it. You can do a textured finish with, you could do a stencil on it. You could put a transfer. There's lots of ways to hide damage, depending on how bad the damage is. It's not real wood, but thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. Can I scuff sand the entire table and repeat with the gator hide? Yeah, you should be able to. You definitely should be able to. Again, we're just grabbing these little edges. Oh, thank you. Everybody doing good back there? Woohoo! All right, so now we're just gonna come on over here and we're just gonna grab our drawers. Absolutely, I'm glad to help. If you have any other questions, just drop them in. I'd be happy to help you with that. Gator hide can be tricky, as I'm sure you know. All right, again, we're not using a lot. And I just like to feather it out. Very, very little. And there'll be some patches and things like that. This is just our first coat. I just like to go real thin on my first coat of primer. I paint really thin too. It's how I avoid, I met like gators in the Everglades. Cute. All right, so again, we're gonna spray. And then we're gonna come on over to the other side. I just like to use a little bit of water when I'm doing my primer just to keep my brush damp so that since I do use such very little product, it dries out on my brush. It's just a little tip just to keep it kind of fresh. You can take like, if you're trying to sand the gator hide very like lightly to apply another coat, you can get like 1000 grit sandpaper very, very lightly and just kind of wipe over it. Like come this way and then come this way if you're trying to get brush strokes out of it, if that's what you're trying to do. That might help too. I always apply satin clear coat before I apply my gator hide. It makes it go on a little smoother. All right, and then we're just gonna grab that little patch. I'm gonna close the drawer, and then we're gonna grab these edges. Very little. Oh, okay. Without being able to see the damage, you should just be able to do that. Just be careful. Unfortunately, I'll be very honest, if I have damage in one area on the top of a piece of furniture, it's really hard for me to mimic that finish. So I honestly will just sand the entire thing on the top if there's damage on the top and then just redo it all over again. So that way it ensures a cohesive finish. But if it's small and it's in an area that's not gonna be noticed, it shouldn't be that bad. We're gonna slide this back just a little bit. grab this top and these edges. The color that I'll be painting this piece of furniture is almost the same color as the primer, which is kind of funny. Oh, of course, Sherry. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have furniture related. Okay. And we're just going to mist a little bit again. And very little. Now we're going to grab our edges again on the sides of the drawer and the other edge. I paint thin on everything. If you put a big thick coat of bonding boss on here, it needs something to stick to. So I apply real thin and then I go back and apply a second coat. But I paint thin all the time. No drips. Good evening, Asia. Thank you for watching. It's just how I paint. So I'll always come in with very little product and feather my product on. I'm not a big fan of the big gloppy goopy paint. So to avoid that, I paint real thin. And drips are really hard to get off. You have to use a razor blade, sand it down, and just do it all over again. So to avoid that nightmare, I just paint real thin. And I'm just misting my brush. I'm not really thinning the primer. The primer is just right here in the container, and I don't thin that out unless I'm spraying it. Which I don't spray furniture very often. It has to be warm enough to be able to spray furniture, which temperature usually isn't an issue, but I live in the south, there's bugs, there's always something flying in the air. I don't really have a designated area in my shop to spray. I don't have proper ventilation or any of that, so very seldomly will I spray. All right, now we're going to come on to the bottom. Oh, yeah, no worries. Everybody has a preference. It's just how I've always done it. And you'd be surprised how far your product will carry you. Right. And I'm just grabbing these little edges down here, being very careful not to let it drip underneath the edge. Thanks. So that's about what it's going to look like on my first coat. Very splotchy, very thin. I'm not worried about it. It's almost dry. The other thing, it takes a while to dry. So the thicker you have, the more risk that you're gonna run with it dripping, the more risk that you're gonna run with it not drying completely before you repaint your piece of furniture. So there's that. We're gonna go ahead and turn this piece of furniture sideways very carefully because it's really heavy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that carefully. And we're gonna continue our process. It's primer. It's called Dixie Belle's Bonding Boss in the color gray is what we're using. It is my favorite. They offer it. It's great. And I just want to make sure you get in all your little edges. Make sure you get this lip underneath here. Oh, okay, great. The inside of the drawer after you painted it, it looks perfectly fine. I use very little paint, very little. And if you don't want drips on the back of your furniture, paint inwards. And again, to avoid all this, less is more. You want to feather your paint on really lightly. I scuff sanded it. I'm going to be painting in driftwood. And then I'm going to go back with gray grunge and add shadowing and all these like fun little detail pieces. It's going to be really pretty. I haven't painted in French linen in forever. That's a really beautiful color too. So we're just going to really thinly come up underneath. You can see all that detail work. That will be what my wax will make look so pretty. You can paint to get that product to move. You feather it out and then smoothly go over it. And by the time I'm done, there's very, very little product on my hand. So, but there's still enough to get it on the piece of furniture. So that's how little product I use. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty. I'm excited about it. But it's gonna be a whole set. So by the time I'm done with it, I'll be over it. So I don't typically like to paint an entire set one color just because I get tired of it, but my booth could stand having some furniture in it, and the furniture that's in my booth isn't selling, so I'm about to pull it all out and put it on Marketplace and put this set up at my booth space. So it's gonna be fun. Or I may just do the nightstands and call it a day. Oh, thanks. Thanks for my jawline comment. I feel like it's kind of manly, but thank you. Usually I wear my hair down because I don't really like the sides of my face showing. I know that sounds silly. All right. Getting there. So this is, again, for those that are just popping on. This is my first coat of primer. I'll apply a second coat that will cover it more. We're gonna work on this detail right here. We're just gonna kind of dab it in there and feather it on. I'm not gonna re-dip back in here because that stuff is gonna get everywhere and drip like crazy. There's way more than enough product on here. Like I said, your product will really carry you a lot more than you think it will. And that's about as far as I'm going with that. Do you know what Main Street antique store is in Morrisville? I don't. I'm sorry. And I always get Mooresville and Morrisville confused. So I don't know if you're talking about the one that's outside of Charlotte or the one that's outside of Cary. So please forgive me. Again, about that much. When I come to the bottom. Now we're gonna flip her around and grab the other side of her. Very carefully so it doesn't topple over on top of me. And then we'll do the top last. I'm just getting a little paint sprays off of the top because that'll show up in your finish, so you want to be careful for that. Grab the other side very carefully. Hang on. All right, well, that's not doing what I needed to do. All right. Charlotte. Oh, yeah, no, I don't. I'm sorry. Charlotte's like almost 3 hours from me. We do go there a lot, though. Great Wolf Lodge is there. In Concord, so we definitely go there. It's fun. Okay. Got my little brush. We're going to mist it again because it's dry. I'm more wetting the edges than I am the top, just to keep this damp so that way it's not going to be so hard for me to get it off. And for all those that are upset that I'm painting, there's a giant sticker on the back that says Made in China. So, so there's that. Like I said, it's Bassett furniture. It's good crap furniture. And that's about as far as I'll go with that. We'll just keep on moving down. Ah, well, Sherry, you're right. You would think. One would think. Again, very little. Patty. Yeah. Go on over to my Instagram page. You'll see just how nice people are. People gotta say something about everything. My mom used to say, opinions are like butts. Everybody has one. Some just are stinkier than others. Down, and let's get this guy. Again, paint inward towards your edges so it doesn't drip. And there we go. Something just hit my shop door. Alright, so that's that. We're going to turn it back frontwards. And I'm going to show you guys how to do the top. Okay. Don't tell Jordan I used his four-wheeler. Shh. Totally putting paint on top of it. I feel like if you leave it in my garage, I can't promise you I'm not going to put paint on it. All right, now for the top, you want to make sure that you don't have any like little paint drips, because if you do, they will show up like little dots or whatever. You'll get those from just painting. Okay, we're gonna mist our brush really, really good, so it helps this go on. And we're gonna do the same thing, but more mindful, if that makes sense. Okay, so you're gonna dip in. I like to start in the middle. All right, and now we're just going to even that out. I'm going to take my brush and smooth my strokes out easily, okay? I'm going to remist my brush again. Again, starting in the middle and overlapping. Nice, smooth, even strokes. Remist. Grab. I missed my brush. This just prevents drag and it'll help have my product move a lot easier. And if you're painting, you can go both ways or however. I just was very thin, so I'm just going over it just the once that way. And grab your front that you missed. And it should be dry enough for me to be able to go over and do a second coat of it, because I do paint so thin. Usually by the time I'm done with my first coat, I can carry on with my second. Hopefully that helps. So there's that. All right, we're gonna pull this open. And I'm not gonna add a second coat up here just because it's the inside of a drawer. The more product you put on it, the thicker it is, the more that it can scratch. And here we go. We're just gonna give it a good little mist. And you can see how my second coat goes on very smooth. There's no drag. Full coverage. Not full coverage. No, it's not. It's gonna rub off every time I put stuff in it. I know what I'm doing. That's why they pay me the big bucks. And this is also primer, not paint. This is one of like 4 steps that I'm doing. And just like that, our first little drawer is painted with our primer, and it has more coverage. I will not do another coat of this today. I will leave that dry overnight, and if I feel that I need to do another coat of it, I can. Thank you, Patty. Thank you. All right, very thin. So my thin coats are going to ensure that my paint will have a great foundation and it'll look beautiful. There won't be a lot of underneath stuff. It'll just go on very smoothly, very pretty, exactly how I want it to look. I'm gonna pull this out and we're gonna repeat the process again. Yes, I apply a top coat. This is just the primer. So I'll do a whole nother coat of this primer, and then I'll paint 2, sometimes 3 coats of paint, depending on how I like it. And then I'll put whatever finish I want on top of it to make like the details. I'll be using like a wax or something like that, or however. And then I will apply top coat. I use satin clear coat, and I will do 3 coats of satin clear coat. Hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, it is awesome stuff. I really love it. It's a great product. So when I'm applying my second coat, I want that coverage and I don't want brush strokes. Again, very, very thin. I'll go on with my product, up and down, and feathering it out. I don't want to glob it on there. I don't want to apply too much product because it's going to make my finish rough. And I don't want a rough finish because when I go to paint it, whatever is underneath, my paint is going to go on top of and you're going to be able to see that. So you always want to make sure that you take your time and you have some patience. Okay? And just like that. Of course, I'm happy to help any. Oh my gosh, you're a professional painter? I bet you have so many tips to tell us and share. All right, see, we're getting there. Oh, there goes my needle. I do the cross hatching because I don't want the brush strokes. So when I come this way and I come this way, and then I'll even out my finishing touch. So I'm basically just feathering my paint on. There's not, well, primer, there's not a lot on there. So that is why I do the cross hatching. I'm just feathering out that product and getting it evenly. I don't use a lot of product. And for me, that's just what I do. Again, very little product. My brush is wet, I missed it, so it helps the product glide on a lot easier, but I'm not gonna dip my brush in and get a ton of product on there because that's not what I want. Because this is already dry. But I will give it 24 hours to cure before I add paint to it, because if you don't let it cure, it'll reactivate it because it's a water-based product. So there's the front of her. Obviously the top is still wet. We can move on to the sides. The sides are dry. And repeat the process. We'll go ahead and turn this girl this way. Hopefully she doesn't spill over on me. She weighs a ton. Again, we're just gonna come in very lightly. I'm not adding any more product. I'm just using what's on my brush. Again, we're just gonna give our brush a little mist and we're gonna keep it moving. And you'll have a piece of furniture primed. What time is it? Within an hour. You'll just let it sit overnight or for the rest of the afternoon. You could come back this evening. But you wanna allow it at least a few hours to dry depending on where you are. Your dry time is gonna be very different. If you have more humidity or anything else. Grab this little bottom area. There she is. Hey, Catherine, thank you so much. Yes, you can go to the Dixie Belle website and you click up in your left-hand corner, it'll say find a retailer. You type in your zip code and you'll be able to find all of the retailers in your local area. If not, you can place an online order if you don't want to do one in person. So hopefully that helps you. Yeah, the products are amazing. They're great to use. I've been with Dixie Belle Paint Company now for about 3 years. I absolutely love them. They're a great, wholesome company to work for. And their products are by far my favorite. I'm just gonna come on in and do this last little side, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. So thank you. Oh, thank you, Pete. I appreciate that. Yeah, my fireplace was fun to paint yesterday. I did the whitewash on it last night, and I have the staged pictures of it today, so I'll be posting that later on this afternoon. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I had a lot of fun with that. The purple was beautiful, but I was just over it. It was really heavy, and I wanted something a little lighter for that space. Plus my couch is pink, so I feel like pink and green go very well together. So thank you for that, I appreciate it. For those that don't know what he's talking about, you could pop on over to my social medias. It's NTS Design Co. on all social media platforms. All right. worry. I'm not using paint, sweetheart. I'm using Bonding Boss. So this is the first step, and then I'll be painting it afterwards. Thank you. I hope that helps clarify some things for you. But the Bonding Boss is amazing. It's a great product. But I didn't want any confusion there, because this is definitely an amazing product, and it's definitely not paint. So I paint much different than I add primer. It'll look like this, and then I add my paint on top of it, and it's very smooth finish, goes on really pretty. I never ever paint over bare wood. I sell all my furniture, so I want to make sure that it has a nice, long-lasting finish that can withstand wear and tear. Plus, I do a lot of really fun stuff. So if you like fun stuff, you should definitely hang out. And there's a bunch of really, really talented creators on this page that do a lot of lives too and post a ton of tutorials. So if you're interested on how to paint the furniture, then I'm sure that they'll have something on there for you. I love you guys, you're the best. All right, I'll grab this front piece. Let's see, is our top dry? I think our top is dry, guys. I think we'll be able to do one more coat on the top, and then I'm out of here. What do you think? Don't worry, I have 2 of these, so I'm gonna save this one, so next week we'll paint it. Oh, thank you, Madison, I appreciate that. All right, so now we're gonna flip her around. Very smooth finish, right? We're gonna flip, flip, flip. Whee! And we're gonna do the same thing that we did before on top, and it's gonna come out amazing. Okay, but what I like to do, set this back here. Okay, we're gonna grab our edges first, just with whatever extra product I have on my brush. Again, you'd be surprised how much product lives in your brush after you're doing this. Get that edge. I didn't even have to redip, that's just from what was on the bottom and on the side. Okay. Do a little bit for this part. Okay, you have to be careful. I'm live, so I'm gonna go a lot faster than I would if I wasn't live. Like, I would let this dry a lot longer. You gotta be careful when you're doing this. You wanna give it 2 hours to dry so that it doesn't reactivate. Okay. Bonding Boss, there you go. All right, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna mist our brush, and we're gonna move fast. So we're gonna dip in, start in the middle. Again, I don't like a lot of product because it'll drip over the edges, it'll glop up. Not my thing. Long, even strokes. We're feathering that paint on. Not paint, Bonding Boss. See, y'all got me saying paint now. Okay, a little bit more water. We're gonna overlap. Grab a little bit more product for this side. And very lightly, have those nice smooth finishing strokes. I'm gonna overlap. And then nice long finishing strokes. Again, we're gonna wet our brush one more time. This will be my last swipe. I'm gonna paint inward so it doesn't drip down the back. Very lightly going back over my piece to ensure a cohesive finish. Very lightly. Ta-da! There you go, guys. She's primed. Slow. So if you want to use your headboard, there's a ton of tutorials on here. You just want to make sure that you give it a good scuff sand. You want to make sure you clean it really well. And you want to make sure you use a good primer before you paint. I like a damp brush. I don't want a dry brush. So that's why I spray mine. And welcome. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, making sure I'm not missing anything. All right, again, this is the Bonding Boss in gray. It comes in white, it comes in clear, and it comes in gray. I prefer the gray. I'll be painting, so if I want to go darker or light, it's a good medium. So there's that as well. I hope everybody has a great day. Come back next week and we'll be painting with driftwood, and then we'll be doing some detailing work the week after that. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Later, Gators. Bye.